Hi everyone and welcome to Protocol 36. I just came back and saw the Batman and it was amazing. The story, the visuals and the performance all outstanding, but it also set up quite a lot of things for the future too, which kinda makes sense given Matt Reeves is basically building a whole new universe. With the HBO shows, I will most likely work on the sequel too, so we will be looking into that. Before we get started, there will be spoilers for the Batman, so if you haven't seen it yet, please do so and then come back to the video. But if you have any point you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate if you could drop a like, as that would really help out the channel. Thank you. Now let's get into this. When talking about the HBO shows set in the Matt Reeves Batman universe and everything that happened in the Batman, I think it's safe to say that Penguin will in fact take Falcone's place, given what Selina said about there being a power grab after his death. And Penguin will definitely try and get that spot along with other criminals in Gotham. And the GCPD show could also be about the aftermath of the flooding Riddler caused in the third act, and what kind of consequences that will have on the police department, as I wouldn't be surprised if the next time we see the Riddler will be there, as I definitely don't think we're done with him just yet, especially the setup that he could one day work with the Joker or even become rivals to him, and even potentially use other characters too in that show, like Harvey Dent before he becomes Two-Face. And when it comes to the Joker and how they use him in future films, I think they will definitely use him to adapt other Batman comics that we haven't seen in live action yet, like the death of Jason Todd sometime, which would of course lead to Under the Red Hood, and potentially also loosely adapt Batman Endgame. When it comes to the Batman sequel itself, there are a million different directions they could go, especially now as they mentioned before that they just introduced the Joker, who was the Arkham prisoner talking to the Riddler towards the ending of the film, and we know it was the Joker because Matt Reeves himself did confirm that is the case. Not to mention the laugh, the hairstyle, and talk about being a clown, yeah, it's definitely him. However, as excited as I would be to see the Joker again with Robert Pattinson's Batman, I think they're definitely going to wait quite a while until they use him again, and in the meantime use other villains that haven't been used before or not in a long time, like they have done with the Riddler himself, which is why I personally believe Mr. Freeze would be perfect for the sequel. He's also a character Matt Reeves talked about that he believes a grounded Mr. Freeze would suit this version of Gotham. Obviously nothing is 100% now, especially when the first film just came out, and things can change in the future, as when it comes to the MCU, John Watts also said that he would have Kraven in Spider-Man No Way Home when Far From Home was about to come out, but obviously things changed and instead it was about the multiverse and had Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin be the main villain. But for now I think Mr. Freeze will be the main antagonist of the Batman 2, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they have Dick Grayson actually appear in it too as Robin, given that we haven't really had a Robin in a Batman movie for a long time now, and pretty much everyone wants to see the character again, especially when Selina did also mention that she'll be going to Bloodhaven, which is obviously not only the sister city to Gotham in the comics, but also the city Dick later operates as Nightwing. Not to mention I also think this version of Bruce Wayne does need a Robin to be his anchor when it comes to his humanity and continue to inspire hope for Gotham, as he said towards the ending of the film. And even if they don't introduce him in the sequel, I do believe they will sometime in the future. However, in the case Mr. Freeze isn't the main villain, which other villains could they use? I think another villain that could be a great choice is Hush, especially in this version of the Batman universe, given there was also a lot of callbacks and setup for that character, with the word Hush being written over one of Thomas Wayne's photos, and the reporter killed by Carmine Falcone and had dirt on Thomas Wayne, specifically on Martha and her past, was in fact called Edward Elliot, who in the comics was the ancestor of Thomas Elliot, also known as Hush, the childhood friend of Bruce, and even performed plastic surgery on his own face in order to look like Bruce. And in the next film they could loosely adapt not only the Batman Hush storyline, but also Batman Heart of Hush, where Mr. Freeze was also in that story, and it was also in that story where he revealed that he made himself look like Bruce. Not to mention he's a villain we haven't seen in live action films yet, because he's a fairly new villain in comparison to other Batman villains, and Matt Reeves also talked about how adapting Hush would be a dream in the future, though he did make it clear that just because he said that, it doesn't mean he's 100% going to be in the sequel. I also saw a lot of people talk about Bane and Poison Ivy too, which would be perfect, especially when we saw Bruce take a green substance when saving Selina that kind of looks like the Venom drug that Bane takes, which helps boost his strength in the comics, so he might not be too far behind. And we also haven't had Poison Ivy in a Batman film for a long time, so eventually I do think they will bring her in. The Court of Owls is also something I can definitely see happen in that universe, especially when there are little hints at the fact that there might be a greater power behind Gotham other than Carmine Falcone, given the way he was talking to Batman before he was eventually killed, and that there might be a secret society like the Court of Owls where some of the most powerful and influential people in Gotham are a part of, controlling the city in the shadows for centuries. So it would be awesome to see Robert Pattinson's Batman go up against something like that, and if done right it would be absolutely fantastic. However, what about you guys? What do you think is next for the Batman franchise? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like and one more subscribe. subscribe. To begin, Protocol 36.